Hello, Kakarot. It is I, Raditz, your big sister. Hey guys, DB right here, and today I am back continuing with Raditz Week, and actually starting a new What If that was actually suggested to me in the comments just this morning when I woke up, and yeah, I thought we can have a lot of fun with this. Really, a bit more loose with this one. I'll still try and keep it to the grounds of the story we know and love, at least to that respect, but I am going to be a bit bolder with its approach. And that is, what if Raditz was female? What if instead of Goku having a long-lost older brother, he had a long-lost big sister? And well, I think really, in order to really tell her story correctly, we really need to go back to post-Planet Vegeta and really explore just how this version of Raditz grew up. And well, it all started since she was born, basically, having a really low power level. No different than her original counterpart had. And Bardock more or less being disappointed with the whole result. Well, you marry a Saiyan cook, Bardock, well, that's what's gonna happen to you. You marry the weakest Saiyan in history, that's what's gonna happen. But however, rather than Raditz being all cautious and more or less cowering from stronger opponents, pretty much how Gine raised the original Raditz, this version of Raditz is more or less a bit more rebellious and more or less looks at her mother with contempt, I guess you could say. This version of Raditz has little to no respect for her own mother. Oh, she does love her and all that, as far as, mother and daughter go and being a Saiyan is concerned, but she just doesn't respect or gather, someone, why Bardock would marry a Saiyan like Mum, She's just the weakest of her kind, not very confident. However, she is kind and nurturing, and well, that is still a bonus in terms of Raditz being raised. If she comes back really hurt and sore, she's always nice enough to, put a band-aid on him or something, or put a bit of that liquid that their med chambers are made out of. Whatever it is Saiyans do. However, this Raditz is definitely more or less aspiring to be more like her father. So when she trains, she always puts everything she's got in her training, and more or less refuses help from everyone else, which is good for her in a way, because she does eventually grow to become stronger than her original counterpart in the series. Even at a young childhood age, she is stronger than the Raditz we all knew and, I wouldn't say loved, from the original Dragon Ball Z series, how he was wiped out in 4 episodes because of that weak power level. So at her young childhood age, before Planet Vegeta blows up, she's already stronger than her original counterpart. Just more to the fact that she behaves and acts more like her father, really, than behaving like Gine. Now, she doesn't always throw caution to the wind, mind you. She does have a little bit of the cautious nature that her original counterpart does, but it's more or less imbalanced with the rest of her. She's found a way to make it work for her so she can continue to progress. And more or less, in some ways, she's actually a better tactician than her father. Just in some ways. In other aspects, not so much. She's still not as strong as Bardock, of course. However, when she's eventually recruited to assist Nappa and Vegeta off-world, she actually does carry her own weight and does prove to be quite useful, having that nice balance of strength and being smart. in a way, she's more or less, she's very similar to Fasha. The way she battles and uses her intelligence, she pretty much modeled after Fasha. Our Raditz had very great respect for Fasha, and more or less imitated the way she does things. And, well, Vegeta and Nappa, even though she's still not quite as strong as they would like, she's definitely not the kind that shies away from a fight, and she definitely does do her part, and she isn't afraid to get up close and personal with her opponents as well, and also getting stronger in that way as well, something that the original Raditz lacked. And well, with that, then the events of the destruction of planet Vegeta happened just per normal. Kakarot had been born, and, well, more or less, Raditz did get a little time with Kakarot, not very much, considering Kakarot's in a sleeping capsule. But Gine basically made her promise that she'd look after Kakarot. You know, it was her job as big sister to look after him. You know, he was a low power level 2. You know, in fact, that was his power level 2. Even weaker than Raditz, and once again, Bardock is not very impressed with this, but however, seeing how much Raditz has come into her own over the years, she could more or less do the same for Kakarot. Kakarot could definitely do the same. So he's not that worried, really. If Raditz could turn out fine, so could Kakarot, especially if Raditz has shown him the ropes early on. And well, this is where she's assigned yet to another mission accompanying the prince, and she and Nappa are off. Nappa and Vegeta are off, more or less doing their own thing. Meanwhile, Bardock has now returned home and has begun sensing that something is not right. Suddenly all the Saiyans are being called home, and well, it's all under the orders of Lord Frieza, and well, him putting 2 and 2 together, listening to what all the other Saiyans are saying, and that, especially with the whole discussion on how Frieza's men are asking about the Super Saiyan, this catches on to Bardock, and just like per normal, he and Gine send Kakarot off to Earth, just like he does, and of course, Raditz overhears Gine, you know, more or less talking about it. Although he doesn't understand the whole finer details that Frieza is coming for him or anything like that. And so, with that, Frieza does show up and indeed blow up Planet Vegeta just like he does per normal, and Kakarot grows up just like he does throughout the original series of Dragon Ball. Nothing has changed in that perspective, and meanwhile, Raditz, who is fully grown and has increased her power even further since then, she's more or less on par with Nappa in this timeline. She's, yeah, if not, possibly a bit stronger than Nappa. And, well, Vegeta is quite impressed with her progress. You know, when Raditz first came to them, she was 2,000. So pretty much as strong as Fasha, but now she's more or less the 5,000, 4,000 mark. So yeah, she's actually stronger than Nappa at this point in the story. And they do get orders to conquer a new job, and this Raditz does more or less take her job with pride. And yeah. But however, more or less like Bardock, she sort of starts the whole destroying people and taking over planets all the time, does more or less seem to more or less get to her. Especially when Vegeta insists they run off on their own and doing their own thing, destroying planets that Frieza did not approve of. Raditz does find herself sort of sitting there wondering why she's doing this. After all, when Bardock would conquer planets, and his crew would conquer planets, it was under the strict orders from Lord Frieza. That was it. Now they're just running off and doing it senselessly because Frieza's more or less forgotten about them and more or less not given them, you know, the jobs that he gives more or less his soldiers. So, senseless destroying is something that does more or less get to this version of Raditz half the time. However, they have been ordered to take out this new planet, and the power levels on there are significantly high, enough to give them a bit of trouble, and this is of course where Raditz remembers Kakarot, and of course decides she's going to go down there and recruit him into the Freezer Force, just like her original male counterpart does in the original. And well, with that, she does land, and since then Goku is married Chi-Chi, Gohan has been born. All that is pretty much played out per normal, except now with Raditz arrived, she actually leaves the farmer alone, actually. He's just too weak to deal with, and yeah, she just... Remember, this Raditz isn't into senseless killing. She's more or less a lot like her father and thinks the same way he does. If Frieza didn't order it, why is she doing it, sort of thing. And well, she's a bit disappointed that Kakarot hasn't conquered this world, but this was his assignment, not hers. And well, she can just grill on him a bit for it. Not that he was sent there to conquer it, mind you, this is just Raditz assuming. And well, just like in the original, she runs into Piccolo, and she's actually a bit more polite in asking Piccolo what he wants to know. No, Piccolo still scared stiff because, well, this is a very formidable and dark power that he's sensing, and it's stronger than what he was sensing in the original. So he's not really doing anything at all. He's more or less, "Can I help you?" "Oh, I'm sorry to have bothered you. You see, I'm actually looking for someone named Kakarot. He'd have dark spiky hair like mine and probably a tail." So she's a bit more fluent and a bit more thorough in her questioning. "I don't know any Kakarot. Hang on, did you say a tail?" And Piccolo, actually noticing her tail, "Come to think of it, I might know who you're talking about, although his name's Goku. I fought on my side for many years." And well, he more or less describes him. He'd have... And well, with that, Raditz is yet confirming, "Yes, that's him. Do you know where he would be?" "You could always try Kame House on the islands there in the southeast." "Why, thank you. You just saved your life." And Raditz more or less flies off and leaves Piccolo to himself pondering. And he's wondering, what does she want with Goku? So Piccolo does more or less decide to go after her, just to see what's up. He's curious. And well, with that, Kakarot and Raditz are more or less reunited, just like they are in the original. And well, it definitely seemed that Piccolo was telling the truth, considering she was now detecting a power level slightly higher than his. This one had to be Kakarot for sure. "What? Who are you? Oh, come now, dear brother. Don't you recognize your own big sister? It is I, Raditz. You were sent here many years ago, back when you were an infant. Although I was pretty sure you were supposed to conquer the planet and all its inhabitants. But maybe I got that wrong." Kako what? My name is Goku." "What? You telling me you don't remember? Did you hit your head or something when you were an infant? Tell me." And well, Kakarot's going, "Yes, I do recall hitting my head a long time ago. I fell into a canyon." That would explain everything. I didn't really want to give a history lesson, but looks like I have no choice. And with that, Raditz informs who he is, and that he is one of the proud Saiyan warrior race feared throughout the galaxy, if not the universe, and that he was part of a bunch of space pirates that used to destroy planets, selling them, you know, that whole gist of the situation that Goku doesn't really like very much. And well, with that, Goku more or less tries to charge and fight his older sister, but it pretty much ends the same way it does in the original, with him pretty much groveling in the dirt. My, brother, could you not detect my power level? Oh, that's right, you don't have a scouter. I don't need that stupid thing to know your chi level. I don't care how strong you are, I will defeat you. And well, needless to say, it looks like Raditz is going to have to give her brother a bit more of a lesson in, showing respect. However, Raditz does respect her little brother for trying. So, I will give you this, Kakarot, there is a bit of fight in you after all. A bit of your Saiyan spirit has indeed survived. I'll tell you what. If you can kill 100 humans for me, I will return, yoink, your son to you. With that, Raditz more or less takes her leave, and well, she does more or less inform that Vegeta and Nappa will be here in a year, because well, after they conquer their next planet, she's more or less decided for them that Earth's going to be their next target. And Piccolo, and just like in the original, Piccolo and Goku do indeed join forces in order to take down this threat, just like in the original. Just Piccolo overhearing that, she's more or less trying to do the same thing he's doing, and Piccolo will not allow it. But the planet is his. I will conquer it. And well, they more or less figure together they may more or less have a chance in taking down Raditz. And, well, with that, Auntie Raditz, yes, Auntie Raditz has locked up Gohan in the space pod, cannot take his crying anymore. The least my brother could have done is raise his kid to be like a Saiyan. This is such a disgrace. I can't believe I'm resorting to kidnapping my own nephew just to get my brother to see eye to eye. I'm starting to think this whole thing may be just a waste of time. And well, he does detect that Gohan has quite a decent power level of 790, which was definitely higher than what she was as a child, and she is definitely surprised by this. And Vegeta and Nappa, of course, who are listening in, also equally surprised by this. Maybe my scout is broken, but she does read the approach of Piccolo and Goku, and that Gohan's power level is still reasonably high. So yes, that scouter is not working, and Goku and Piccolo do indeed show up. So have you decided to accept my more than generous offer, Kakarot? I'm sure you're not here to fight me. You know the difference of our power. Just because you're a lot stronger than we are, doesn't mean we can't outsmart you. And well, we get a battle between Kakarot and Piccolo versus Raditz, and well, this battle is even more one-sided than what it is originally. Remember, she's more or less as strong as Nappa, and well, this does have to resort in Piccolo more or less resorting to his special beam cannon. And well, whether or not he's going to be able to charge enough power that's actually going to destroy Raditz remains to be seen. After all, he's actually going to have to probably charge this longer because of that difference in power. And well, considering how easily she was beating Kakarot and Piccolo's senseless just now, yeah, Kakarot's not going to be able to distract her for very long. However, Kakarot does get a lucky break, grabbing her tail. The one consistency in this battle I am not changing. See, Raditz may have spent all that time developing her strength and power, but, just like the original Raditz, she neglected her one weakness, the tail grab. And just like the original, she's losing her power quickly, and Piccolo is still charging away at his attack. Don't do anything she says. However, she does convince Kakarot to let go of her tail, just like she does in the original, and well, big mistake, and she's beating Kakarot even more senseless, and well, this is where Gohan charges out of his space pod, flies a huge charge, and gets a hit in Raditz. Now mind you, this doesn't do anywhere near as much damage as it does in the original. She's that powerful. It still manages to crack her armor, but ultimately it hasn't really done that much to her. It's got her sort of grabbed her gut a little bit and she's wheeling back, but she's not down and out and weakened overly that much. And with that distraction, Goku does try to grab her into a full Nelson, and Piccolo fires his next attack, the second attempt of the special beam cannon. However, since Raditz is nowhere near as weakened as much, she's able to get out of that easily, and the strike ends up hitting Goku. And it's more or less here where Raditz sort of begins to see the error of her ways. After all, she wanted Kakarot to join her. She was willing to beat him in submission, and maybe threaten to kill Gohan in order to get him to agree, but she never really had intention of actually doing it, of following through with that threat, and I believe the original counterpart was more or less the same in that regard. He would have said and threatened to do anything to get Kakarot to come along, but now it has resulted in her brother's death, and in a way, even though she's much like Bardock, she was raised secondarily by Gine as well, so she does have a bit of a caring and kindness to her, and she's actually upset that her brother got this badly damaged because of her actions. She never intended this, and it was like she broke her promise to her mother to look after her kid brother. So in a way, she's dishonored. She feels very dishonored here. And well, she's more or less looking at Piccolo, who was sort of huffing and puffing there. Gohan is knocked out. And to her shame, she grabs Gohan and flies away. It's probably not a bad thing, because at the very least, this means Nappa and Vegeta are not going to hear words about the Dragon Balls. And Nappa and Vegeta are just more or less baffled at why Raditz is running away. Raditz more or less removing her scouter and smashing it. This sort of was the stroke that broke the camel's back, so to speak. Raditz wants nothing more to do with Vegeta and Nappa's lifestyle. She doesn't want to destroy anymore. When they were following the orders of Frieza, it was pretty much of a purpose, but even after, now that Kakarot has become an unnecessary casualty in more or less the Saiyans' quest for greater power, yeah, it's just really gotten to Raditz. And the very least she can do is more or less train up Kakarot's son, I guess. And well, with that, the rest of the Dragon Team assemble. Piccolo just basically tells them how basically he failed, that they failed to stop him. He's ran off with Gohan, and that Raditz has ran off with Gohan, and yeah, more or less, he does recall that Raditz did mention 2 other Saiyans that may or may not arrive. They might come out there to help Raditz out, so it's to their best interest to start training and preparing in case that day ever comes. And well, to gather up the Dragon Balls, of course, and to wish Goku back. And so, more or less, Piccolo is more or less continuing his training all by his lonesome, while everyone else is doing the best they can, training together. And well, meanwhile, Raditz realizing that Vegeta and Nappa would be on their way here for sure, to more or less deal with her running away like that. To Vegeta and Nappa, that would have been considered cowardice and is a punishable by death offense, according to as far as Vegeta is concerned. And well, So with that, we've got we have Vegeta and Nappa on their way, and they're pretty much going there pretty much to kill Raditz and, yes, take over the Earth and sell it to the highest bidder. That's their whole mission here. But by Raditz running away from Piccolo, who's weaker than they are, and her showing weakness for a brother like that, she has disgraced the Saiyan race as far as Vegeta is concerned, and they are coming to wipe that stain away. And, well, Raditz has since woken up Gohan and has more or less begun his training. Of course, it took her a little while to convince Gohan that she means him no harm, and that what happened to her father was more or less an accident. What happened to Gohan's father was more or less an accident. And well, Gohan can tell that Raditz isn't all bad. And so, with that, Raditz is training Gohan to the best of her ability, and it's more or less working. Gohan is pretty much catching up to her power really quickly, considering his latent potential, and, you know, them taking advantage of the Zenkai boost. And this, of course, is increasing Raditz's power even more greatly, while Goku is running along and eventually is getting training within King Kai, learning the Kaioken and the Spirit Bomb. And Piccolo, well, as for Piccolo, one day Raditz more or less senses this energy that's pretty high in power, yet it's familiar, and, well, turns out to be Piccolo's. And yes, Raditz has picked up how to sense energy and hide his power level within this time. After all, she's a Saiyan, she is quite quick to adapt to that ability, just like how Vegeta and Nappa, Vegeta was more or less quick to adapt to it too. As we know, a month later when he ends up on planet Namek during the whole Namek arc. So, Raditz picks up on it pretty quick, and, well, she decides to find out who it is. It's definitely the strongest power on this planet. It turns out it's Piccolo. Piccolo has increased his power quite a bit since last time, and Raditz is more or less impressed with this, and, well, she does try to approach Piccolo. Piccolo jump into his guard, however he more or less notices the kid with him, and Raditz is more or less convincing Piccolo that she means him no harm, and does warn them that the other two Saiyans will most likely be approaching to get rid of her and conquer the planet. So Piccolo's greatest fears are, of course, confirmed with this, and Raditz basically just says, you're going to need my help if you're going to destroy them. Your power, as formidable as it's beginning to grow, it's not going to be enough to take down the Saiyans. You are going to need my help and this kid's help in order to take them down. My only big regret is that Kakarot can't be with us to help us fight them off either. I wouldn't put money on that if I were you. Most likely his friends would be looking for the Dragon Balls right now in order to resurrect him. What? You serious? Dragon Balls? And so Piccolo more or less is filling Raditz in with this, and Piccolo not really trusting Raditz at first, but they do eventually get along and train, and Piccolo explaining that Goku will be getting training by the Lord of Worlds, Kaio-sama, aka King Kai. And, well, Raditz is like, then we have a chance at this after all. So with that, Piccolo does begin joining them with the addition of training, and all three of them are growing even more stronger together. At this point, Piccolo and Gohan could actually best Nappa one-on-one if they had to. And while, as for Raditz, her power level is getting closer and closer to rivaling Vegeta's. Not quite as strong, but it's getting there. It's getting there. She could definitely distract him a few moments until Goku finishes arriving, and, well, this is where Nappa and Vegeta do arrive, and the whole normal meet and greet happens, and the whole battle between them and the forces of Earth begins, and, well, it's actually quite the hectic battle, and thanks to how Raditz knows how Nappa and Vegeta works, none of the Dragon Team end up dying. Not even Yamcha being blown up by a Cyberman. He is spared that fate, and with team coordinated attacks, they are keeping Nappa off his feet, and more or less defeating the former Great Saiyan General. And well, with Nappa beginning to find his ground a little bit, pretty much Gohan and Piccolo pretty much put a stop to that when they basically team up, and together they destroy Nappa. Nappa is dead. The entire Dragon Team here, and more or less his scouter beeping up, detecting Goku's arrival. It's not really looking good for the Prince. He's now got to fight all these guys himself. And Raditz, who's more or less just weaker than he is, yeah, it's not looking too good for the Prince at all. And well, with Goku now arriving and confused to see Raditz fighting with Vegeta, what's going on here? Isn't she on their side? And well, Piccolo's just there. A lot has happened since you've been away. We'll fill you in later, but first, how about helping us get rid of this guy? And with that, Goku more or less joins the fray as well, and everyone is just going with a big full frontal assault on Prince Vegeta, and there's really nothing Vegeta can do. If he fires a energy ball, Raditz is just going to look up to it as well, and it's still going to be a lot of trouble. And who knows how many of those insects could actually manage to cut off his tail. You know, it's just too many variables. But then he notices something else. He notices that little Gohan, and that his tail has indeed grown back. This is where Vegeta does decide to throw the energy ball after all. I will concede you the tactical victory, Raditz. However, how are you going to stop me if you're too busy stopping each other? He throws an energy ball up into the air, gets in his space pod, and more or less flees the battle, while Raditz has to deal now with a rampaging Gohan who cannot control his Saiyan instincts. And well, with that, Raditz chooses to look at the energy ball as well, transforming herself into a great ape, and more or less calming the kid down, and ringing him in, and just keeping him calm until the energy ball more or less runs out. There's no real reason to cut their tails here, but Vegeta has managed to get away, and well, everyone else are more or less being treated for minor injuries in the hospital. Even Goku and Raditz aren't even that badly banged up. They got out of this situation pretty well, and I think that's actually where we're going to leave things for right now. So what do you guys think? Did you enjoy this story? Did you like our little backstory growing up with filling in with Raditz's childhood? And well, did we like how Raditz did manage to maintain a bit of a caring and nurturing nature that she inherited from their mother, Gine? And well, with that, I think we'll actually just leave it there. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. And yeah, don't forget to leave your thoughts in the comments. I love hearing them, guys. And thank you for suggesting this what if. I had a lot of fun talking about it today. And just like I do with all my what ifs, I have a lot of fun doing them. And I think actually me doing these more often like I have been, I think it has ultimately improve my communication and confidence a bit. I find that the stories are flowing a little bit more better, and I'm not pausing as much as I used to. So yeah, with that, thank you guys for joining me today, and I will see you guys again tomorrow for the next What If, which actually has already been pre-recorded. I saw your comments from your what if Raditz went to Earth instead of Goku. I saw all your comments from that, and I've already pre-recorded the next part, so that's coming up straight after this one. Alright, see you guys later.